All right, so we know when I say quadratic equation, you don't necessarily have to write this down. That's up to you. Just as a reminder, a quadratic equation has an x squared in it. That's what makes it quadratic. The equation piece means we have an equal to.
She spelled her macho. There's paper towels on her sink. Oh, so it's right. Oh, it's
So when we solve these, our focus will be to set it up like this. We want everything on one side and 0 on the other. And then we can factor and solve once you get it soaked up. In order to solve these, we are going to use the zero product property, which tells us if you have two things multiplied and it equals 0. The only way you get 0 as an answer to a multiplication problem is if one of those numbers is 0, right? If 3 times something equals 0, what did you multiply 3 by?
0.
0. The only way to get 0 for an answer is if one of the things equals 0. So, when we're looking at these, if two things equal 0, you'll have to set each one equal to 0 in order to solve. So that's the property we will be using. So we'll set it equal to 0, factor, and then we can set each factor to 0 to finish. So let's solve an equation. X squared equals 12 minus x. So if we want to solve this, what do we have to do first?
Everything on the same side.
Right. We prefer for our x squared term to be positive if we're going to factor. So what I'm going to do is add over the x and subtract over the 12. So we get x squared plus x minus 12 equals 0. Then we want to factor, because this is a 1x squared, we can do the easy method. So x squared breaks into x. What multiplies to negative 12 and adds to positive 1?
X plus 4, x minus 3.
All right, so then, what do we do?
Set it equals 0, so
Set each of these factors equal to 0. So if we subtract the 4, we get x equals negative 4. Add the 3, we get x equals 3.
we put this in a solution.
So negative 4 and 3 are my only two answers. Can you check these?
Yeah.
Yeah, plug it back in the original. Negative 4 squared is 16. 12 minus negative 4 is 16. 3 squared is 9. 12 minus 3 is 9. So it does work. B.
Take out x.
It's already equal to 0, so to factor, first step to factoring is always look for a greatest common factor. So if you take out the x, so then we can set each of those equal to 0. So either x equals 0 or x minus 9 equals 0. So my answers are 0 and 9. In a quadratic equation, how many answers should we get?
2.
2. When you have that x squared, we'll get 2 answers. So far, so good?
Kendall, you said yes, but you weren't even here. I finished it. Okay, fair enough.
we can do easy method here. It's already equal to 0, so we don't have to do anything there. There's no greatest common factor. Because it is a 1x squared, we can just go straight to the parentheses. So x squared breaks into x. So what two numbers multiply to positive 9 and add to negative 6?
Negative 3 and negative 3.
Wait, we need to put the answer once?
Alright, so if you set those equal to 0, it's the same thing, right? So we just get 3 twice. What we are going to do is write 3, and we're going to put a lowercase m and a 2. Do you guys know what that m stands for? It's a multiplicity. So a multiplicity is a repeated solution. What this means is 3 is a solution twice. We knew it was quadratic, so we should get 2 answers. Well, this is saying both of those answers are 3. So anytime you have a repeated solution, we call that a multiplicity.
Does that be a sideways quadratic?
It'll just be like a quadratic that hits the x-axis.
Isn't that like a balance?
Mm-hmm.
Whenever it's
Oh.
an even multiplicity.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Yeah, I spelled that wrong.
Sorry. Let me go back.
Oh, good. Just like, oh, I want to see that word. It's the ratio.
Let's look at this.
Still been slide. Slide.
First step is,
Oh, take time.
I like to write it in decreasing order, so I want my 4x squared, then I'll put my minus 12x plus 9 equals 0. Check, do we have a greatest common factor?
No.
No. So what will we have to do here? Slip and slide. So you guys remember that? You take your 4
To the back.
back. So we get x squared minus 12x plus 36. So then we can do the easy method. What multiplies to positive 36 and adds to negative?
X minus 6.
And then what do you have to do on these?
Divide by 4.
No.
So 6 over 4 reduces to 3 over 2. So you bring the 2 up. These are the same. So we set it equal to 0. And we get 3 halves. When I go to write that, what would I have to put?
3 squared and 2.
And 2. That's a multiplicity of 2. The same answer works both times. And no cash today, just
Nope.
hands? Okay. All right. So far, so good? Huh?
Did anybody bring anything in?
Yeah. Freshmen 24, sophomores 8, juniors 35, seniors 4.
What the frick?
Sophomores
How
is
do you
all
do
blue.
it? I don't even know
You
what
said
that-
blue for a second?
Yeah.
I was just thinking we did.
Okay.
Freshman's not that great.
Might.
He brings like 878 games every year.
I swear people would just be robbing the pantry.
We got a bunch of food from the food
They actually
bank
brought the food
last
bank.
year,
Uh-huh.
and we didn't ever use it because it was all like fruit cocktail. So that's what I bring every year. I bring like
There you go.
mass amounts of mangoes or peaches. Peaches.
Save that. Save that. That's what we do in your truck.
All right.
That's our school.
Thoughts on this one?
X squared minus 5.
Okay, so we have a couple options. I told you on quadratics to set them equal to 0. What happens if you subtract the 5 over?
Get a per.
It's not pretty, is it?
Oh my god.
But
Quadratic form?
we're trying to get x by itself, right?
Yeah.
in this one, we only have one x. It's right here. Could you get that x by itself?
No.
Yeah. It's squared. The opposite of a square is a square root. If you add a square root, what do you have to put with it?
Plus or minus.
Plus minus.
So we get x equals plus and minus the square root of 5. So those are my two solutions, positive and negative radical 5. Why didn't I have to do factoring or box method or anything on this one?
You wouldn't have done
It was already so important.
Yeah, you notice this one only had an x squared. All the others had an x squared and an x term. So that's the difference.
One second of my wallet.
Gonna make it.
I drank all my water.
Yeah, I'm good. You straighten up. Oh, snap.
48 divided by 3 is something, isn't it?
Can we, like, divide by 3?
Why do you divide by?
Should I
Three. Oh, wait,
x
yeah.
minus 2 is that?
Okay, there's really two different options for this one. Could you multiply this all out and do box method? Yes.
Wait, what?
I like box. I don't like
I
box.
don't like box method.
You don't like that? Oh, sorry. Slip and slide.
Yeah.
Could I just get my x by itself here as well?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you wanted to get x by itself, what would you have to do first?
Divide 3.
So I have x minus 2 squared equals 48 divided by 3 is 16.
24.
Then how do you get rid of a square?
Square root.
When you add a square root, what do you have to put?
Plus or minus.
Okay.
It
So
would just be
the
plus minus.
square root and the square cancel. So I have x minus 2 equals positive or negative 4. So think of this as two separate equations. X minus 2 could equal positive 4, or x minus 2 could equal negative 4. So what would I need to do now?
Said 2 cases. No. I didn't know.
Add over the 2, so we get 6 and negative 2. Make sure you notice how I separated those before I added my 2 over. If you don't, if you just said x equals plus or minus and then added that, you would have plus and minus 6, which is wrong. So write your 2 separate ones before you try to solve that. Okay, I'm going to give you guys some problems to try. Yes.
Oh, you're talking back now?
No.
Why they gotta use G's?
What's wrong with you, bro?
I don't like some G's.
I don't like guys.
He said I don't like guys.
Oh, God.
Come here.
They just threw me a curveball.
Why would you write that in that order? You unbelievable. Take that back. Why would you take that back right now? I can't because you wrote it backwards. Left-handed mushroom wheeler. I killed it.
I want this section.
Oh, no, I already have to use it.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, switch y'all up on me. I like that.
She concentrated. Wait, what do I do for each?
Not Williams plus 30.
It's negative.
That's just
Yeah.
negative.
Thank you.
5 and 6.
negative 2.
Positive 10, negative 3.
I don't know.
You know what? Smart. What do you say?
What'd you do?
Square root.
All right, so then you have x minus 1 equals plus or minus the square root of 4 is 2. Make sure you separate those. So x minus 1 equals 2, or x minus 1 equals negative 2. So you get x to be 3 or negative 1. Do you guys agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, sure.
This one, what did you do?
Square root.
Square root. Load that mother.
What's the square root of negative 49?
7i.
All right, and nothing else to do there. So we have positive and negative 7i.
No, we're gonna bracket it.
All right, what'd you do on this one?
Flip it around first.
Flipped it around.
After being used.
Some of you either factored out a negative 1 or moved everything to the other side, so it'd be positive. If you are going to do box method, you have to do that because you need a positive here. Slip and slide, we could go ahead and just keep it. If you multiply that negative over, so what multiplies to negative 30 and adds to positive 7?
3. Negative
And what do I have to divide by?
15. Negative 15.
I didn't divide by negative.
All right, so this would reduce to
Negative 2/3.
negative 2/3, so that would be 3a minus 2. This is positive 1/5, so 5a plus 1. Set those equal to 0. So we get 2/3 and negative 1/5. Is everybody okay with that one?
I like that today this island's gonna be on Math Expo.
All right, this one. What do we do?
I like distributed my B.
Distribute B.
Distribute.
Distribution.
And then brought my 2 well over. I fixed it, so.
Good job. Good job. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
And then,
Slip and slide. Slip and slide.
so we get b squared plus 17b plus 72.
And then 8 and 9. Yeah.
And then what do we have to do?
Divided by
0.
6.
I forgot to divide by 6.
All right, so 8 over 6 reduces to 4 over 3. Whoops. 9 over 6 reduces to 3 over 2. So set those to 0. We get negative 4/3 and negative 3/2.
Oh, what the heck? I didn't know. I got 2/3. I definitely just flipped it.
Are we okay with that? All right, so here's what I'm doing. I'm going to put one slide up here that I just need you to write down in your notes, because that's going to be the first thing I do tomorrow, okay? So you write this down. I am not talking about it at all today. I just want it in your notes so I can talk about it tomorrow. As soon as you get it written down, then you can start the Math Excel assignment for today. All right?
I know you're so like.
Not gonna have like
Like something
6
that's
pages.
Oh,